Yeah, let's go.
All right, our first red common is Battle Rattle Shaman. It's 3 and a black for a 2/2 Goblin Shaman. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have target creature get +2/+0 until end of turn. What do you
Yeah.
think about this card?
This card, like it's so dependent. It can have, I mean, here's an interesting way to think about it. It's Anointed Deacon, but for any deck.
Aha!
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
now so Anointed Deacon wouldn't be as insane as it is if the black-white archetype wasn't going wide with lifelink creatures, is why that card is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this isn't necessarily going to go into that, but it's giving a creature +2/+0 every turn is quite good. I don't think this. I mean, we've seen this card before in Master sets, I believe, recently, and it wasn't great. But
Right. It was in Modern Masters 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think the reason it wasn't great is because you couldn't build a red aggro deck.
Yeah.
Like you could build red green aggro with 5 copies of Burning Tree Emissary, but um, that was not easy. So I think this card is going to be good in aggressive decks. Um, but outside of that, you would like never play it, like
Mm-hmm.
just because 5 mana 4 mana 2/2 is just not good enough. I
Yeah.
think I'd give it like a C- though, because
Yeah.
of how narrow it is.
Yeah. I think it just has to. If there is no aggro deck in the format, this card's really bad.
Yes.
So yeah, C-D+ seems about right to me right now.
Yep.
Next up, we've got Borderland Marauder, 1 in a red for a 1/2 human warrior. When it attacks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. This is a good aggressive creature.
Yeah. If aggressive decks are good, this card will be good.
Probably
So
a C+.
yeah, I would give it a C+ for now.
Yeah.
All right, so Draconic Roar, 1 in a red for an instant. You can reveal a dragon as an additional cost from your hand. You may though, so it's not required. It deals 3 damage to target creature. If you reveal a dragon, it deals 3 damage to that creature's controller.
This,
And
is,
this
common
what?
is good.
Yeah, this card is very, very good.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already, after looking at a large portion of the set, there doesn't see outside of like the defender deck, there are a lot of, this kills a lot of things.
Yes.
And this kills a lot of things that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, which means it's a card that I'm going to play even if I don't have dragons. So the reason I think this is common is not less has to do with its impact, but more has to do with they want the dragon deck to be able to get copies of this card, and other red decks are going to want it, so it needs to be a common.
Yeah.
Um,
But
so
even without dragons, it's just great. Like just
yes, and I'm not
lightly.
gonna. It doesn't make dragons better. So like, I don't
Right.
think I'm going to try and jam some dragons in my blue-red prowess deck because of the additional ability. Sure, the additional ability is good, but I still don't want to play cards that are off plan.
We haven't really seen like good removal at common in this format yet. Like this is the first one. Like we saw like
This is the
Grizzly
first cheap
Spectacle.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've seen removal spells at common, but we haven't seen one that we'd be happy to first pick yet. And I
Yeah.
think this is one of them.
Yeah. I'll give this a B-. Maybe
Yeah,
it's just
I
a
think
B.
it could be a B, but I'm gonna start with B- as well.
Nice. Dragon Egg is next. This is one of our common dragons. 2 in a red for an 0/2 dragon with Defender. When Dragon Egg dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying that has fire breathing.
I don't like this card.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's so weird because I feel like this goes more in the Vent Sentinel deck than it goes in a dragon deck. Like,
maybe, I don't know. If you have a bunch of Draconic Roars, maybe. So like it has to. So 3 mana 0/2 Defender is bad.
bad.
Like even in the Defender deck, I don't think it's good because
Mhm.
it doesn't really. It's not going to block relevant things. Now a 2/2 flyer with fire breathing can be very good, but it having to die. I mean, I would give this card a C-. I think is just where to put it. I don't know exactly where it's going to fit, but I feel it'll fit somewhere.
Is there a way for you to like? Is there like a rile, but for 2 damage? Like, how can you control this dying at not a cost for you?
So
Because
the
that's
more
the problem.
Yeah, the more I look at this set, the more I feel like there should have been a like black red as a sacrifice deck would have
Yeah.
worked really nicely, but it doesn't seem all right. All right. Maybe there's Goblin Bombardment, but even if there is, like there needs to be a bad sacrifice outlet at common that's like good enough that
Yeah.
nobody else would want. to make me really excited to play a Dragon Egg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, C minus seems fine to me.
Yep.
What's next?
Dragon Lord's Servant, which is 1 and a red for a 1/3 Goblin Shaman that makes your dragon spells cost 1 less. All right, so this is one of those ways to ramp to your big dragons, and nobody else is going to want it, so maybe you can get like 3 of these. But I tend to not be a fan of if this card makes like 3 cards in your deck cost less, and that's
it's
it.
Kinjali Scholar.
Yeah, and Kinjali Scholar is not great.
It's not good. No.
Now, if Kinjali Scholar was a 1/3, it would be much, much better, though, of note.
Yes.
But, I mean, this is also 2 mana. I don't like this card very much. I don't think you would ever prioritize it, even if you're in a Dragon deck, because if you're in the Dragon deck, you're hoping these wheel. I would give it a D, maybe a build around C.
Yeah, I think I'm on D here. This is an interesting card. Earth Elemental, 3 red for a 4/5.
It surprises me when cards like these are in Masters sets.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're playing this card, you're going to be very unhappy with your deck.
Yeah, what train wreck happened where you're like, all right, I guess this is what I'm doing at 5 mana?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they just really wanted a card with a lot of flavor text.
Yeah, I mean it's iconic in a way.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a D, just like definition of a D.
Yep. Right. Furnace Whelp, what's this?
Furnace Whelp is 2 red for a 2/2 flyer with fire breathing, which is red, and you can give it +1/+0 until the end of the turn. It is a dragon, so it is one of the cheaper dragons. It's exactly what the Dragon Egg dies into. So maybe there's a dragon deck that needs some number of cheaper dragons, or it's payoff for playing your Dragon Lord Servant on turn 2. And the card, like a 2/2 flyer with fire breathing, is fine, but
yeah,
that's about all it is. I'm not excited.
It's also tough because it does feel like the dragon deck wants to go bigger, and so when you're going like 4 mana 2/2 flyer, that's kind of small, and then you can't really be dumping a lot of mana into this because you're probably going to be wanting to cast bigger spells.
Yeah, and the 2/2 the smaller creatures in this format, like that we've gone over at least, like it's not like this even trades well with many of the 2-drops.
Yeah,
of prowess and stuff. So I think this is like a D+.
D+ sounds right. I was gonna give it a C-, but this seems.
Yeah, this is a weird one. Fury Charm is 1 red for an instant. You get to choose one out of these 3 things: destroy an artifact, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains trample, or remove 2 time counters from target permanent or suspended card.
There is suspend.
Yes,
there are suspend cards.
Suspend, I think, is in like red and green, which is why we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Usually, you don't want to use Fury Charm to remove time counters. I mean, maybe you'll have to.
No, you do not.
I think this card, more often than not, is if your deck wants to play the card 1 in a red instant, target creature gets +1/+1, gains trample until the end of the turn, and you have a shatter effect if you need it, you'll include 1 copy of this card.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm not interested.
Seems like a D.
Yep.
Hammerhand is next. I think this card is going to be very strong. This is a Ryan Saxe card right here, I think. This is a single red mana for an enchantment or enchant creature. When Hammerhand enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn, and enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has haste.
So in Triple Amonkhet, I first picked red cartouche all day.
Jesus, get out of here. You're off. You're off the stream.
I'm aware that was wrong. That's one of those preferences that I had been talking about, where I just loved the card, so I took it. Now, obviously, this is that, but you can't return Trials, which is a big part of what that card was. Last time we saw Hammerhand, which was in Origins, card wasn't particularly good, and that was an aggressive format.
Right.
So that's a good thing to note, is that Hammerhand is not even necessarily good in every aggro deck. It's sort of, based on how we saw it in Amonkhet, where it was good, it was more of a, because that, like, the way that, like, you can't really block was working, it paired better in that format. So I'm hoping this card is very good.
I think it's basically like a Jeskai card, right?
Right. Well, yes, and if in the Jeskai colors, if you want to think about it this way, it's sort of 1 mana less than Swashbuckling because of prowess, right? So it gives +2/+2 the turn that you play it sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that this card is it's not necessarily a build around, but you can only play it in a linearized aggro deck.
Right.
So not just a lot of aggressive decks you see in limited are like mid-range aggro decks. They have some 5-drops and they have some bigger 3s and 4s, and that's not where Hammerhand is good. Hammerhand is good when your deck are 1s and 2s and like 3s and a couple 4s, and your deck is very much linearized to end the game as soon as possible, because at that point, the target creature can't block clause can behave like a removal spell.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this is probably like all told a C.
Yes.
Because like in the deck that this is good in, which is I think a red-white or red-blue prowess deck, you're going to want multiples of these.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
All right. So we have Heat Ray, which is red X. For an instant, it deals X damage to target creature. So this card, like, I mean, it can kill anything, but like you're still going to be losing on mana most of the time. Of note, though, there is the red-green archetype is built around X spells.
Ooh,
yeah.
Really?
So yeah, if you look at the red-green uncommon, it taps for 4 mana, but that 4 mana can only be used to like cast an X spell.
Interesting.
So now this isn't the right payoff for that because, sure, you have all your mana to build around X spells and this just becomes an 8-mana murder, but it's good to know.
Yeah.
So while I don't think this card is good, and I would like in most red decks, I wouldn't have it as, like I'd have it like a D+. It does get better specifically in red-green.
Interesting. I still think it's like probably filler. Like you can't have a lot of these.
No, and even the first one's not that good.
Right, I think it's C-. That's where I'm at on Heat Ray.
All right, sure.
Keldon Harbidier is 4 in red for a 4/1 first strike with suspend 4. So you can pay a red mana, you exile it, put 4 time counters on it. Every upkeep you remove a time counter. When the last one is removed, it comes into play. It has haste.
Yeah, the haste is really important for this.
Yes.
Because like a 5, because it comes out on turn 5 effectively, right? And a 5 mana 4/1 first striking haste is fine. I mean, in a 4/1 first strike to block with, if your opponent can't remove it, might just mean they can never attack.
Yeah. No, it doesn't seem like there's a ton of stuff that punishes X1s. Like there's
not that we've seen yet.
Yeah.
I don't think like there's no like dual shot variants.
Right, skullduggery kind of thing. Yeah.
So
it's probably fine. Like not excited
I think
about it.
that's all it is. I think all it is fine.
Like a
I
D+.
think this is just, yeah, I might go on C-. It depends. It can have different impacts on the game.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yes.
Here it is.
All right, Kiln Fiend.
Yeah.
1 in a red for a 1/2. Whenever you cast an instant or a sorcery spell, it gets +3/+. So important to note, it's not non-creature spell like most prowess.
Yes.
So if you play an enchantment or an artifact, it does not get a bump. But this card hits hard. Like I mentioned, how great it is with the card Distortion Strike.
Yeah.
And they get so much better in multiples because if you can build your deck knowing that you can have one on turn 2. I love this card.
Is this a B- for you, or are you just like windmill slamming this?
This is one of like I don't think I'm gonna. Me being me, I would first pick the card. I don't think that's what you should be doing. But I mean, it's possible if the prowess decks are the better deck, like end up performing very very well, then this card gets even better. In non-prowess decks, it's very bad. Like if you're playing a usual like 15 creature 8 spells, but like 2 of those spells are enchantments or artifacts, this card's just like very bad. So I think that it's really only fair to give it a build around grade, and I would give it a build around like B.
Yeah, build around B sounds good to me. Next up is Mark of Mutiny. Why isn't there a sacrifice deck?
Yeah, all the pieces are here. Maybe I mean, is Goblin Bombardment an uncommon?
No, I keep looking for it, but I don't see it. Mark of Mutiny is 2 in red. Gain control of target creature until end of turn. You put a +1/+1 counter on it and untap it. That creature gains haste until end of turn. So, without sacrifice outlets that are very good, other than we'll get to the Cauldron. These are like bad finishers in aggro decks, but not really where you want to be at, in my opinion.
I mean, like it's like a sideboard card. Maybe a hyper aggressive red deck will main deck 1 copy, but I don't think so.
No, I think it's basically like a D.
Triggers prowess.
It does trigger prowess. Like,
And it
if
gets rid of
you're
a
winning
block.
when you cast this, great. But otherwise, it's tough.
I mean, if your opponent leaves back one blocker and you have like 2 Kiln Fiends out, I mean that's pretty great. But I think I think overall there are just going to be better things to do.
Yeah, I agree. Ooh.
All right, this card's great.
Flame.
Yeah.
What does this card do?
It's a shock variant. It's red for it deals 2 damage to a creature or player, but it exiles that creature if it would die, and it's a sorcery.
Mm-hmm.
And this card's good. Shock is solid. It looks like there are a lot of things that this kills. I haven't like outside the defender deck. There like there's not that much with 2 toughness and an exile clause. It's not as relevant in this format. It seems there doesn't seem to be that much graveyard interaction, but it is likely somewhat relevant. I don't think this is going to be like that high of a pick.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it is real good in prowess decks.
Yeah. But it's just good in a red deck. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely good in a red deck. It depends on the format, right? Like, so it's always going to be good. The question is how good, right?
Yeah.
So, because like Magma Spray, which couldn't even go face, but was an instant, was
the best.
Was the best common in Amonkhet. But then in Aether Revolt, Shock was good, but it wasn't great by any means.
Right. I'm gonna start this. This doesn't seem like I don't think we're getting Magma Spray territory here, but this does seem like a C+.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a B-.
Yeah,
it's probably not a C though. So
right. Yeah. Get owned, Doom Traveler. You're done. Splatter Thug is next. 2 in a red for a 2/2 human warrior. First strike and unleash. So it can be a 3/3 that can't block. This seems out of place. Like the black unleash cards I get, but this one, I don't understand this card.
Let's see. This is so. I mean, we've seen a lot of X2s, which is like one of the reasons why the shock is good, right? And I mean, it blocks those really well, and the 3/3 attacks well. This is the kind of card that I like, but it's not going to be as good as I want it to be. I think I have it as a C.
I think this is going to be worse than that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I think I'm going to go D+ on Splatter Thug.
That's fair.
Next up, this seems good. Tormenting Voice, 1 in a red. We just saw this in Hour of Devastation. As an additional cost to cast it, you discard a card and you draw 2 cards. So effectively, it's card parity, but card selection, and triggers prowess or triggers Kiln Fiend.
Yeah, card's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm not going to prioritize it.
No, but you will play it. But you'll play it in your prowess decks.
Yeah, I'll play the first copy.
Yeah.
I don't know, like a D+.
D+? Yeah, that seems fair to me. What's next here?
Trumpet Blast, which is an old one. 2 in a red for an instant that gives attacking creatures +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Really important that it says attacking creatures. A lot of people,
yes, thank you.
You're going to play this wrong the first time if you've never played it, and maybe use it to trade up because you have to and get completely wrecked. So make sure not to cast this on your opponent's turn.
Yeah.
So
this is.
I mean, not giving a toughness boost is a problem, and it also doesn't seem like red is supporting a go wide deck. Like, it doesn't seem like red white is going to have a bunch of creatures on the board.
Right.
So I think this is substantially worse than filler.
Yeah.
I think that it's just not gonna I think it's gonna be more in the D territory.
Yeah, I think
maybe D-.
D is right.
Yeah. Oh, here's your baby.
This is my baby. 3 in a red, Vent Sentinel, 3 in a red for a 2/4 elemental with Defender, and it has 1 in a red tap. Vent Sentinel deals damage to target player equal to the number of creatures with Defender you control. I can't wait to draft the Vent Sentinel deck.
It's a good win condition in your deck that can't attack. I will definitely say that is true. And it was like one of the best commons in Conspiracy.
Yeah, right. I did draft Conspiracy once and did get the Vent Sentinel deck, and it was good. It was great in Rise of the Eldrazi. Now that was a very slow format. But...
Yeah. I mean, this card is so much better than it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's for sure. And color red doesn't support the Defender deck, you are
No.
likely going to be splashing this card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be a better win condition in your Defender deck than the one that mills? Because
I,
one, you have to splash it, and two, if you're splashing it, they don't actually get that much better in multiples because you might not get the addition, be able to activate both of them.
that's true. I think a thing that makes this card so much better than it looks is that it has 2 power. Because a
Yes.
problem with like the doorkeepers and the whatever wall of roots of the world is that your opponent can just freely attack into them with all their things, and like they'll be like, great, well I'll attack my 3 creatures into your 2 blockers, and I get through for 2 damage. But Vent Sentinel requires them to have a trick because it's going to be able to deal damage in combat itself. It's very good. Like you have to build around it. Yeah, people are bringing up in chat that like blue and green are really more where this card wants to be at. A lot of the other red cards, as you said, don't support it, but it's an archetype payoff. I think they're not. This isn't accidentally in this deck, in this set rather, and I think the Defender deck is going to be supported.
Yeah, I think the card will be fine, but I know I'm going to be lower on it than you are.
Oh,
so.
for sure. I'm going to go build around B.
Yeah, I think build around is where it has to be, but I still think even then, because you're going to have to splash it, I think it's like a build around C plus maybe.
All right.
Cool.
Where are we at with our uncommons here? Oh, wow. I did not know this card was here.
This card is good.
This card was tough in Theros.
Good luck blocking.
Yeah. Coordinated Assault is a single red for an instant. Up to 2 target creatures each get +1/+0 and gain first strike until end of turn. Triggering prowess, making 2 creatures have first strike, pumping their power. Just...
Yeah. So here's the thing that's interesting is one of the people like there could be an argument that like, well, this was insane in Theros because heroic, right? So you could get those counters, and it's like prowess is going to behave similarly in combat.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, this card, I would be happy to first pick this card. I believe.
That doesn't surprise me. I would be unhappy to first pick this card, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was the correct pick out of some packs, some number of packs that it's in.
Like I think this card is either is like in the B range, definitely not a B plus. I'm gonna start at B minus, but maybe it's a B because of how impactful the card is.
Yeah.
The card just lets you attack with all of your creatures every turn, almost always.
Yeah, it's so cheap. It's so effective and cheap, and so easy to get a 2-for-1 out of it. Like, yeah, it's really good. Okay, Dragon Tempest is next. 1 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, it gains haste. And whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control.
There's your dragon payoff, but like it doesn't really do anything.
It does not do anything. Like
even in a dragon deck, I don't even know if I'd play it most of the time. Like,
yeah, this is not the dirtling I like to do.
No, it's also just like. While build-around cards are sweet, this is one of those cards that people think when you think it's good in your deck, it's because of best case mentality. Mm-hmm. You have to realize like it's one of the reasons that like favorable wins in Ixalan has a home. There's like a blue-black flyers deck that often has like 10 flyers, and that's good. But like there's only so much
even in that deck
can
it's
impact.
Like a C-.
Yeah, exactly. And like let's say you have like eight or 7 dragons in your deck. Is this even that good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think it's great.
Yeah.
Like, it strikes me as the kind of card that people will think is great because they'll play it or it'll destroy them.
Yeah.
But it's just more often than not a mulligan, and I think that puts it in, like, the build-around D range.
Yeah. I'm just going to go straight D minus.
Yeah.
Fireball. Oh, baby. That's iconic.
Yeah, it is. And there also may be a mythic in this set that combos nicely with it.
Ooh.
Yeah, have you not looked at them all?
No, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so Fireball is a great card.
Yeah.
Right, just like always great.
I don't know when you're probably first picking this out of most packs.
Most packs?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so like you have to pay 1 for each additional target. But if you kill 2 things, mm-hmm. It's great. You can kill multiple things. The really relevant thing is that it can go to the face.
This is also probably secretly, at its best, will be in the green ramp deck because there's a lot of there's the We'll get to it's Wall of Roots, and then there's the wall that cares about you having other walls for the amount of green mana.
And there's the red green card that taps for 4
Right.
if you use an X spell. Like,
so certainly most at home in a red green deck, but you're playing it in all your red decks.
yes, which is I think Fireball's like an A minus.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah.
Like think about it I think I would take this pack 1 pick 1 over Doomblade.
Yes, I agree.
So
I agree. All right, next up we got Gutter Snipe. This is a sweet card. 2 in a red for a 2/2 Shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Gutter Snipe deals 2 damage to each opponent.
I love this card.
I do too.
Yeah.
This is super fun. Another this is a payoff. Again, it's got the Kiln Fiend text, so it cares about instant or sorceries, not just non-creature spells, but this is slotting right in to your red-white or red-blue prowess decks.
Yep. Yeah, I think red white and red blue. It's funny if you look at like the people have compiled like the archetypes. They're just called aggro, but I think they're often going to be these prowess decks, and Gutter Snipe will be good in both of them. Even like it might not seem like it'll be good in red white, but like you don't actually need that. Like usually it's like, oh well, you want to cast 2 spells this game to make sure you get the additional value, or 1 spell with rebound, which is pretty huge.
Oh my God, is that true? That's right, because you're casting it off of rebound.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't believe it's copying. I believe you are casting it a second time off.
Right, because I think the spell gets exiled and then it comes
Yes.
back. Yeah, wow. Oh, I hadn't thought about Gutter Snipe with rebound. This card is good.
Yep.
What do you give it? This feels like is it a
Build around B?
Do you even need to go build around? Yeah.
I think you do, because I don't think you'd put it in any of your red green or red black decks based on the way that they're shaping up. Maybe there's like because like I guess it's like fine in like a mono removal control deck maybe, but I don't think those decks tend to be good in master sets. So
yeah,
I think it's a build around, because I mean, is it? I don't know. Maybe it's just a B minus.
Yeah, I think like this might be a B minus, but build around B seems fine too.
Yeah,
because it is really only. It feels like it's only in Jeskai. It doesn't look like I don't really want it in red black, and I'm gonna guess I don't want it in red green.
Yeah.
What's next? This is a rarity shift, right?
Yes, Hoarding Dragon.
Jeez.
3 red for a 4/4 flying creature. It's a dragon, which is relevant. When it enters the battlefield, you can search for an artifact card and exile it. When it dies, you may put the exiled card into its owner's hand. Which I don't know. Can you ever search your library for an opponent's card?
I don't know why that would be the case.
But irrelevant. I mean, this card's great. It's an air elemental that when it dies draws you an artifact, right? So like I'd put this in most of my red decks, even if I don't have an artifact.
Yep.
I don't know how great all the artifacts are, but of note, some of them are mana rocks, right? So if you play like you can play this on 4.
Grabbing Mind Stone is gas. Like
yeah.
This card seems very good to me. I think it's like a B plus.
I think I have it as a B. I think it would be a B plus, A minus even in a lot of limited sets. But I think just 5 mana 4/4 flyer is not as great as it usually is. But if you have an artifact, yeah, I think it'll be a B plus. But I think I'd still play it without one.
Yeah. Let me guess. You love this card. This next card.
I do.
What does Monastery Swiftspear do?
It is a 1 mana 1/2 haste in red with prowess. Oh, this card. I'll be drafting this card all day, every day.
Yeah.
It's not like it's an insane Magic card, right? Like in limited, it's not insane. In the right deck, they just have to respect a spell at such a percentage of the time. It's almost like a 1 mana 1/2 haste it's unblockable for the first couple turns, because there are very few. Sure, if you play your 2 mana 0/4 defender, you'll block it, but it's just a very lean card. It's lean, it's sleek. It's not good in every red deck. Like, as we've said, it's not going to be good in red-green or red-black.
Yeah.
But the blue-red and the red-white deck are really going to like this card.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very good. It's probably just like a B minus.
I think I still have it as C plus.
C plus? That seems fair.
Yeah.
Like it's not. I guess maybe not a pull into red.
Well, yeah. The thing is, it's a pull into, like, if I'm white or blue, it'll be a pull into red, right?
Yeah.
Is one way to think about it.
That makes sense. All right, we're finally seeing some way to punish X1s. Prodigal Pyromancer, 2 in a red for a 1/1 human wizard that can tap to deal damage to target creature or player.
Yeah. Yeah, this card's usually great. We've seen a good number of 1 toughness creatures, right? And like still being able to go to the face. Pingers are great.
Yeah.
They just usually end up being great. I think this is a B.
Yeah, I think it's a B too. I think this is a strong card.
Right. We have Rift Bolt, which is 2 and a red for a sorcery. It deals 3 damage to target creature or player and has Suspend 1. This card is solid. The Suspend 1 is actually really interesting interaction with Prowess.
Yes.
Right, because you can you can go like 2 mana Prowess creature and then suspend this plus 2 mana Prowess creature, and then you get both triggers the next turn.
Right.
Also, there are cards with Storm in the set. And it suspend does change storm count stuff, but those are few and far in between.
This is still probably worse than Draconic Roar, right? I mean, still probably a B minus, but I think worse than Draconic Roar.
Yes, I think it's like clunky enough, and like when you suspend it, your opponent can somewhat play around it. So if they have a 3 mana card that matters, three toughness card that matters more, they won't play it. Mm-hmm. So I think C plus B minus is like where I have it.
Yeah.
Probably C plus.
Yeah, that seems fair. I think it's probably still a pull into red for me, so I'm gonna go B minus, but I like it.
Sure.
Stagger Shock, 2 and a red for an instant, deals 2 damage to target creature or player, and it has rebound.
I mean, I'm giving this an A minus.
Yeah.
I
was just not a 2 for 1 all the time.
Yeah, I want to give it an A.
It's probably an A in a prowess deck.
Yeah, it also could just be an A, right? Because like if you're playing the non-prowess decks, right, you're playing a control deck, more controlling mid-range like dragons or ramp deck, and those decks tend to like be able to go over the top, so they lose when you go under them, and Stagger Shock kills 2 things that are going under them. So I'm still gonna start with an A minus, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is a mythic uncommon.
Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. Last, we've got Surreal Memoir, 3 and a red for a sorcery to return an instant card at random from your graveyard to your hand, and it has rebound. Could this be good? No, right?
I don't think it's instant.
It's
not instant or sorcery.
No, it's not instant or sorcery. You have to have 2 instants in your graveyard to want to get this, to want to play this.
I mean, yeah. I mean, my guess, it just requires too many hoops to jump through. This is a reason to mill yourself with Thought Scour, though. I could see doing some funky things, right? Because if you're returning cards with rebound, right now you're like getting like 3 prowess triggers a turn for your like maybe you're playing mostly spells and you like your first turn you mill yourself with your Thought Scour and so on and so forth, and while you only have like 8 creatures in your deck, you're like in the end of the game your Monastery Whisperers are just attacking as 4/5s or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. It seems too cute though. It's like a build around D, one of those that like I'm gonna try and make it work and it's not gonna happen.
Great. All right, what's our first rare?
This card's very good. Anger of the Gods. 1 red, deals 3 damage to each creature. Creature was dealt damage this way would die this turn. Exile it. Oh.
Seems like it kills a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it looks like it kills most things. Red seems to, like, this seems, like I don't think I would play it in my red-white, or I could play it in, there might be a more controlling version of red-blue. This is a reason to play a non-aggressive deck, and I would take it highly.
Yeah, I would give this a B+.
B+, yep, that's where I'm at.
Bogarden Hellkite, 6 red for a 5/5 dragon with flash flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you get to deal 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or players. Well, if I open this pack one pick one, I'm gonna take it and try and build around it.
Well, think about it this way: the card's Fireball, but you get to have a 5/5, right? Because sometimes you're like Short doesn't have the flexibility, but we've seen multiple ramp things. There's the thing that makes dragons cost less. I guess we haven't gotten to green or
green has
yet.
Ramp.
So
green has a lot of ramp.
Green has a lot of ramp, and there's a lot of colorless ramp, and so 8 is hard to get to. But I think like we didn't give Avacyn that high of a grade, right? But I think that this is paired in a better color because of the dragon support to go that big, and I actually think it has more of an impact than Avacyn does on the board.
For sure.
Yeah.
This is a huge blowout. Avacyn's not a blowout. Like,
it's just a great
Avacyn's an obnoxious thing to see on the battlefield, but you can't really blow someone out with Avacyn.
Yep.
But I would give this an A. Like,
I would give it an A- just because 8 mana.
Sure.
But yeah.
Oh, this is coming back from Innistrad block.
Yeah.
Charmbreaker Devils is a house, 5 and a red for a 4/4 devil. At the beginning of your upkeep, return an instant or sorcery card at random from your graveyard to your hand, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it gets +4/+0 until end of turn.
Yeah, card's very good.
I mean, the first half of the card is really why it's so powerful, but
yeah.
if you are able to get through with an 8/4 also, that's pretty incredible.
Yep. More insane prowess to go with Rebound again. I mean, I think this card is, like, you can't put it in any deck, right? You need...
No.
Like, but you need... You could play it in, like, a multicolor red control deck with a bunch of removal spells, too. Like...
I mean, you just need the one spell. You just need to have one spell to get back. That's all. Because then you're just playing it every turn.
Well, if it's a good spell to play every turn, right?
Sure.
So, like, if playing that spell every turn doesn't win you the game, which it might not, depending on the state you're in, I think the card's very good. I think I would give it a B.
I'm a little higher on it, but maybe that's just from, like, it was very good in Innistrad, but that might be just because, like, that's a regular limited set. So.
That set also had a lot more ways to get things into the graveyard and through other fashions.
That's true. Yeah, I think I'm on this at bomb level. I'm gonna go A-.
Okay.
So,
sure.
But Ryan's got it at a B. What do you make of this next card?
Crucible of Fire. It's an enchantment for 3 and a red. Dragon creatures you control get +3/+3. While there are some small dragon creatures, most of them are large. Mm-hmm. Most of them can take over the game, as we see in all the rares. All the Falling Stars and Beguardian Hellkite are just not cards that need you to have this card. If I'm in the Dragon deck, I'll take it 10th pick.
Yeah, they needed to reprint that. There was like a 1 mana 0/1 with fire breathing that was a dragon. They needed to reprint that.
Yeah, but as is, it just seems like there is 1 3 mana dragon and then 1 4 mana dragon, and then everything else is expensive.
Yeah.
And so playing a 4 mana enchantment that boosts your 6 drops is not how you win in limited.
No, this is probably just like a D.
Yeah, I would give it a build around D.
Okay.
Which is
pretty as close to an F as we'll get you.
I think almost every card that I say build around D is the kind of card that people give Fs to.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's just so narrow that you have to build around it, and even when you build around it, it's not that great.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Magus of the Moon is interesting. This is 2 and a red for a 2/2 human wizard. Non-basic lands are mountains. So we haven't gotten to the lands yet, but there are this cycle of bounce lands from Ravnica, and there's Evolving Wilds. So if there exists a deck that's trying to splash around and needs fixing, I could see bringing this out of the sideboard.
It's really good against bounce lands.
Yeah, really
right?
good.
It's like because if they have 1 bounce land, it's like a destroy target land, mm-hmm. right? Because now that only taps for 1 mana, but as is, the card's just not impactful enough.
No.
In limited, people play too many basics.
Mm-hmm. I think it's like a sideboard D or something.
Yeah, agree. Sideboard D.
Maybe D. Maybe D plus because. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Ryusei the Falling Star. So we're getting this full cycle of 6 mana dragons. It's a 5 and red for a 5/5 legendary dragon spirit. Flying. When it dies, you deal 5 damage to each creature without flying.
Oh yeah, card's great. That whole cycle's great.
Yeah.
I would give this
probably I think probably the green.
I think the green one's the worst. Yeah.
This is probably second worst.
I think it's a B plus.
Yeah, so very good.
And being splashable is of note.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. B plus sounds good to me. Scourge of Valkos.
Yeah. See this? Yeah.
What? Go for it.
The funny thing about this card, I guess I should have waited for us to read it first, is it's kind of like the Dragon Tempest, that really bad enchantment, but because it's on a 4/4 flyer, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one is 2 triple red for a 4/4 dragon with flying. When it or another dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control. Yeah, so this is just a house, right? So it's by itself, it's just a 5 mana 4/4 flyer with fire breathing that deals a damage to something when it comes into play.
Yeah, no, I mean, this card's great. I think this card's an A.
This is an A, yeah. I mean, it's color intensive, so that might knock it down a little bit. But
it being color intensive, and if it's the only dragon in your deck, if it's the only dragon in your deck, I think it's an A minus.
But theoretically, it's not.
But
it's not going to be.
Yeah, you can take other dragons if you need to, right?
Yeah. Yep. All right, let's get these mythics out of the way. My boy Kiki Jiki.
I will never pass this card. You can't pay me to pass this Magic card.
Oh, it's so funny to me where our like dirtling interests overlap.
Yeah, see, I like dirtling, just in a different way.
In a different way. That's fair. Oh snap. So Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker is 2 triple red for 2/2 with haste. You tap it to create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary creature you control. That token has haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. This card is sweet.
Yeah, card's super sweet. I mean, they're unlike the last Master set, the Modern Masters 3. There aren't like an abundance of ETB effects everywhere.
Right.
So it does mean that you can't just jam Kiki Jiki in a deck. But you can do super sweet things with it, and I will be first picking this card, but it's probably not actually insane, especially because the mana cost is prohibitive and the body is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not a bomb, right?
No, but it's still good. I think it's like probably like I build around is not the right grade. I think I'd give it like a B.
It's a B. Yeah.
Right? Like the correct pick between this and like like the cards that we've been giving B+ or better is the other card, but
yeah. Next up is a bomb. Thundermaw Hellkite is 2 red for a 5/5 dragon with flying haste. When it enters the battlefield, deals the damage to all creatures with flying your opponent's control and taps them all.
It's your boy Monstrosaur.
Yeah, I mean it's Monstrosaur with like downside because it's double red instead of a single red, so it's not as.
Oh yeah, but yeah, you're right. It's just worse than I mean, this card might be an A+. Like
this is an A+.
Yeah.
This card is insane. This is like going to be such a big grown test.
Yep.
And lastly, got the Praetor Cycle Orobrask the Hidden 3 red for a 4/4. Creatures you control have haste. Creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. This is tough to play against.
I mean, yeah, this card's good. I don't think it's a bomb, but I mean, making your opponent, if you play this and your opponent like can't play blockers for the next creatures that you have that have haste.
Yeah.
This is really. I don't think I'd give it an A, but I think A-.
I think A- sounds right.
Is reasonable, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, that's going to do it for red. We'll see you here for green in a second.